Hey everyone, it's Angie Harness here with Keller Williams. And today I have my friend Tony Mathews, who is the president and CEO of the Western St. Charles County Chamber of Commerce. For those of you that don't know, that would be Wentzville, Lake St. Louis, Stardom Prairie, and Flint Hill. And Tony has been with the chamber since 2010. He has over 16 years experience working in the chamber industry. He enjoys helping business owners connect and build their businesses within the community. And I can tell you firsthand that that is absolutely true. He has worked alongside membership of the Western Chamber to grow to represent 4 cities, which I mentioned, to over 700 members in the St. Charles County region. That's a pretty good amount. And when he is not at the chamber or working, he enjoys spending quality time with his wife and 4 children at Disney World and on the beach in Florida. So welcome, Tony.
Thank you for having me today, Angie. I'm very excited to talk and to share our experiences and hopefully help some people out.
Absolutely. Well, and what I'd like to just share with everyone is not everybody knows. So my husband and I were newer to Missouri. We moved here in, was it 20? You know how I figure out when we moved? I'm so terrible at time. I go to the tax records and see when we bought our house.
Hey, well, that's the easiest way to do it, right? I figured out today when they sent me an email that when I had moved into the new house, they're like, welcome, your anniversary is this. I was like, oh, we did move this week. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm the worst. Like, when was that? I don't know. I got to look on the calendar. It's so like 2012. And I think is when we moved here, and I got licensed in real estate in August of 2014. And then for whatever reason, and this is nothing against other realtors who don't think this, but I just had that in my head when I got my real estate license that I didn't have a right to practice real estate unless I was going to be involved in the community. And one of the first things I did was join our chamber. And it's been a wonderful experience for me personally. I think I shared with you, Tony, when we spoke a couple weeks ago, that I was able to, when I look at all of the families that I've helped over the past almost 7 years.
Myself included.
Yeah, yourself included. I can trace over 30 back to a chamber relationship. So it could have been somebody that I was referred by a chamber member, and then I helped that family or person, and then they referred me to someone else. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, that's a really, really great result, and it really speaks to the power of this community.
I think that's a great example, though, Angie. I think when people get involved with the chamber, they come in and it's immediately like a business card, or they're thinking about sales. And I think we got to kind of flip that a little bit too. And I think as long as people are making those personal connections and really thinking about what they can bring to the table too and get involved and active, I think that's the kind of the key, because the more relationships you build, the stronger you're going to be in your business, but people get to know you for who you are. And I think that's important. So you're a great example of someone that came in new right away. And I think, you had the right mindset of just being yourself and getting to know people and contributing back your gifts and talents.
Absolutely. And that's a Kellerism coming from contribution. And if we truly, and I don't care who you are, I think that's definitely my advice to anyone, business or personal, if you really come from that kind of giving spirit and how you can help others, it makes it a lot easier, because you're not trying to sell yourself, because that's hard. and I
don't think people like being sold to. I think they like to. I think when you're kind of losing that authenticity with yourself too, if you're putting that. I think we all have those 30-second introductions about what we do. But I think by being more authentic and more real, I think people respect that. They also get to know you more too. So I think at the last chamber meeting we did, everybody had to do cartoons. I think each member had to, make a drawing. They got to talk about what they wanted to do, and it was more interactive. And it was great to see everybody communicating, but in a very different way than they normally do. You come in there and you think you're going to come to a meeting, and all you're going to talk about is, oh, I'm Tony Mathews, and I'm with the Western St. Charles County Chamber, and we have blah 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 blah. But I don't think everybody. I think if we can get to know me as a person, then I'm going to be more knowing you, and you're going to be knowing me. And then we can make those connections. So
100% agree. I remember years ago, I was at a networking event and I was in a conversation with someone, and someone else walked up and they just started, they had their sales pitch. And it was they interrupted the conversation to give their sales pitch. And I still remember this. And I think this person is a perfectly nice person. However, I remember it and not in a positive way. So you don't have to do that. That's an old school, like people did that and it was kind of expected. And, like 50 years, I don't know, 20 years ago, a long time ago, it's
the
done.
dynamic I think has really changed, especially since when I first started, in the way that we've I think the memberships really embrace that community feel. I think we had a member that joined after coming to the membership meeting last month, and it was because of the welcoming, and he felt engaged right away, and everybody was willing to, like, who are you? What can we help? They were willing to help, and he was like, it was such a great environment. That's why I have to be here. So I think if everyone can walk in with that same mentality, then just think of all the connections you can make if you just allow yourself to put down that card and just be yourself. So
absolutely, it's easier. It takes the pressure off. And is it important to have that elevator pitch? Yes. However, barring that, if you don't have that down, I don't.
Well, I think a lot of the times too,
on a scale of 1 to 10, mine probably is a 2. I mean, it's not, and I
think when we have those though, it's sometimes it can be repetitious. If we're all in the same group, you've maybe heard it before, and you don't want people to not hear what you're doing, but either mixing that up, or you do a wonderful job of talking about your passion. So like the child center, you're the first to say, I'm in real estate, but one of my passions is the child center and supporting that organization. And you should too. I think it kind of gives people, trust in a different aspect of who you are. And it also encourages them to get involved in the different aspects of the community and things like that. So
absolutely.
I think there's ways you can mix it up and still say who you are, but not necessarily give everybody that.
Well, and to your point, Tony, and hold on, I got a little tickle. This is not
That's okay. I'll take a drink too then, so it'll be fine.
Like seriously, right here, like a tickle. I hate that.
Okay.
So anyway, to your point though about community, what's interesting point is I recently have met with a couple different people about listing their homes, and both of them I know that excuse me, networking. And okay. And I know them through networking. I know they know a lot of other realtors. And I asked them both, I said, so I know, and basically that question, I know you know a lot of agents.
Yeah.
What caused you to want to meet with me? And they both said, and in basically this order, it started with, one of them specifically said the child center, involvement in charitable in the community. And then third was being, and I know you're an aggressive realtor, aggressive for my clients. That was I thought that was,
it was third. But you see how they connected with what you were passionate about too, though? I think if you can find those like instances between each other, I think that's where you connected with them first. So
yes.
You didn't start off with saying you're a real estate agent. You started off by saying you were passionate about the child center, and that's what caught. So again, we should all kind of be aware of presenting kind of that authenticity of ourselves and, taking down those barriers and just, being who we are in the moment and not kind of putting on any, if you get yourself and that's me. I think a lot of the times, we try to think, walking into a meeting or walking into something, I gotta do this or I gotta say this, or if I don't forget to say that, you think you just work up your nerves so much that it doesn't, it gets yourself psyched up and then you don't know what you're talking about. And then it's just walking and being like, okay, this is who I am. Anybody want to talk to me? I think that's what
exactly.
you do. So, yeah. So,
well, and exactly. And it's kind of simplifies things. And it was interesting. Like you said, the first thing they talked about 2 other things before they got to what I do. And people want to work with people they like, know, and trust. And I just, that would, anybody who's watching, you don't have to have some fancy anything. If you, like you said, be authentic, be yourself, and you really
can overthink. You can overthink too. Like you can overthink that 30-second commercial to death, man. And people just need to know who you are. That's basically what it is, and what you're passionate about, and make those personal connections. So,
yep. Yeah, I think it was, what was it? John, I think it's a John, I don't even want to try to say it, that John Wooten quote. It's like, and it's something like, can I trust you? There's like 3 things. And then, are you good at what you do? Like, that's what people want to know. Are you, and do you care about me? Please forgive me, people, if I know I'm butchering this, but I think it's, do you care about me? Can I trust you? And are you good at what you do? That's what people want to know.
Yep. I think trust is a big thing we all have to kind of look at too. I know you had brought up stuff about, I think we had talked previously, like what we've been doing here and how to, look at what COVID's done and how we've had to not rearrange, but just kind of, it makes you think in a little different mindset a little bit. And I think trust is, you're going to have to trust yourself and the team you put around yourself. And then that's kind of the challenge. So I always look at that. Think about Jurassic Park. So you see the Tyrannosaurus Rex coming at the back, at the mirror.
Not so me. I don't watch.
Okay.
I don't watch shows where people are getting eaten.
But it got me thinking though, if you're constantly watching that T-Rex coming up behind you, eventually it's going to catch you, because all you're doing is paying attention to that. You're not paying attention to the road ahead and trying to keep moving yourself forward. And I think a lot of the times we get lost in maybe what somebody else is doing or in a different thing, and you're not trusting the processes and the people that you have around you to move forward, that this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. And those challenges that come along the way, they're only going to strengthen you. So never be afraid to fail or not try something because you don't think it's going to work out. If you're ready from the mindset, think it's not going to work out, then you've already kind of get that, but you got to keep moving forward. So I think trust is a big thing in business and just in life in general.
What you just sparked, Tony. I was recently, our friend Shay Peffley, she sent me, it's a Kolbe, Kolbe assessment. It's been like a year ago. And for some reason, I was looking through emails while I was on vacation, and I was reading through my assessment, and it focuses a lot on your instincts and trusting your instincts. And what you just said kind of just really speaks to that. I think that there's an infinite amount of ways of doing one thing. And I think it's very important for people. You got to figure out how to do it your way and what is going to work best for you. You can walk 5 feet and kick a realtor, and every single individual, if you're going to be successful, whether it's real estate or whatever you do, and you've got to figure out your way. What is your special sauce, your formula? Yeah, you can't, if you're trying to copy what someone else is doing, not that that's the bad thing. I mean, you see somebody doing something, you like it, resonates with you, and it works for you, by all means, R&D it. Rip off and duplicate it.
Hey, I mean, that's true. But if you're paying attention to what every other if you're paying attention to 10 other real estate agents and watching everything that they're doing, then you're not taking care of your clients. If I'm watching what every other chamber is doing or every other organization is doing, then I'm not focusing on my members and their needs and moving our organization forward. So if I'm always worried about what's this 10 million things on the sides of me, I'm going to laser focus on what the task I have in hand and what we're trying to accomplish here. So, always set those goals. I think we've done a really great job on kind of reorganizing the way that the board's thinking about more about utilizing the team that you have. So really think about that. Like I have some great people in that room with me. Let them use their talents and their gifts and get out there and blast the doors open and just talk about how great their businesses are in the chamber. And I think that's something I'm really excited for this year. So.
Exactly right. Well, and I loved our chamber retreat we just had. I just love the way that ran. I think, and you're exactly right. I mean, and you look at all of our board members, we have a really good group of people who care and really want to do good things in the community. And I know that, my team, our team that I was with, we're actually meeting tomorrow on Zoom.
Okay. Good.
To talk about, to talk about.
I'm glad to see that, because it gives, even if you're working with like your employees or your team and your businesses, I think everybody's got great ideas. How do we give them ownership of, like, it's not my chamber, it's not your chamber, it's our chamber. It's so when you allow people to make decisions and use what they want to kind of accomplish and try to help them guide the way, but just give them the freedom to be a part of something. I think that's what people want. They just want their input and they want to feel like they've made a difference at the end of the day. And I want the board to feel like that. Like when we sit down in April and we're done, I want you to say, okay, these are 20 things on the board and those things got accomplished because we worked together as a team. And I'd like to see that. I'd like to hear that you guys are meeting outside of the group and planning what you're doing. So, I'm here to help and definitely assist when I'm needed. But I'm glad to see you guys kind of taking ownership of that. So, makes me happy.
And what you're speaking to, Tony, is I think it's a philosophy of leadership. We're only one person, and I think of like the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, which tells us there's about 20% of the things that you're good at. And I would probably argue it's probably more like 20% of that 20% of that 20% that you're really good at, which means there's a whole lot of things that you suck at or you're not so good. So that's why it's so important to allow people, to come with their ideas and have that mindset of doing that, whether it's a board or your employees. One of the things
go ahead.
No, I was just saying my virtual assistant, I've really been working on training her to, if you have an idea, I want you to say it. If you see me doing something, you think, Angie, there might be a better way to do that. I want you to have the freedom to say that. And it's amazing once you help people understand that, I want to hear what your thoughts are and your ideas are. And that really, they get more enjoyment out of their position, their job, or whatever it is they're doing. And you just get you get a better result. I mean, she's come up with some things that she's implementing in my business that are fantastic that I hadn't thought of.
It changes the processes, but it also, we had a really good ribbon cutting with Cambridge Air Solutions. So they're a air manufacturer here that just moved in another building here out of Chesterfield, but they opened a location here in Wentzville. And the CEO was talking. So every Monday morning, they have one of their employees every day. They're every section, so their teams. So everybody has their own workstation. So everybody is allowed to do whatever is going to make their processes better. So then every Monday, that person discusses how, okay, I changed this way that I do things, or I changed this with my workstation. And they share that with the entire company and the entire employees so that they can then, they said they had 700 and something videos that were of employees talking about ways that they've changed their processes and helped others. And so I thought that was really interesting. He said that, and I just thought that just gives people ownership and more commitment into their what they do, so they don't feel like this is what we're going to do. This is how we've always done it. I can't change anything. And I think that's when we get involved in different organizations. If I'm going to say we're not going to change half the things on here, that's not right. It's not right for one person or for one group to say this isn't going to change. If we have to give ownership over to our members and our because they deal with the processes too. If you look at, like you just said, your assistant deals with all those processes. So that's something that she does every day. So how do you allow her to make those changes? And it's making your business better by giving her the freedom to do those things, make her processes better. So we should really look at that through all of our businesses. How can we give that strength to our employees? So
absolutely. Well, and I know that's not my wheelhouse. I appreciate spreadsheets. I like them for their good use. I just sure as crap don't want to create one. And I'm not going to tell someone else how to do it because it's just a terrible idea. I know what I'm not good at, and I'm not good at that. I could be, but I don't want to. I'd rather please stick an ice pick in my ear. No,
but I think there's some people that really love it. Like we have a friend that we've known since high school, and she loves spreadsheets. But when you need something like done and she's got the organization there, like it's done. And so I don't know if I would do that, but it keeps us organized if we are doing anything really. She's got it all planned out and ready to go. So there's people that are really great and they enjoy that type of thing. She enjoys, and that's what she likes. And so I think give her the strength to keep doing that. Keep me organized. Things like that too.
I'm laughing because at times I've created spreadsheets for myself. It's like, oh, what color should this be?
I like lists, but then I list everything and I'm like, ooh, I did that. I sent that. Ooh, I need to better prioritize my just to make myself feel better about, ooh, I crossed out 5. Okay. To really be organizing the importance of my crossing. So
So the moral of the story, kids, is that if you're not good at something, delegate it. Let someone else
delegate it. And just figure out if that's really if it's helping. If it's something you need to do, yes, let's learn it. Let's get it better. If it's something that you can hand off to somebody else that can do it much better, faster, and more efficient, then by God, send it on the way. Because it'll free you up to do the things that you're good at. And that's what's important too. If you're bogged down on things you don't like to do in your business, or it's not doing you any good, you're not furthering yourself or using your talents to better off. And we all have to think about our talents and things like that too. So
yep, you're 100% right, Tony. That's exactly right. I think kind of the overall theme of our conversation is, at the end of the day, if you can take your ego out of the situation and really focus on how do we get the best results? How do we best serve the people we're trying to serve? If we can just kind of look at that, it makes things so much easier. And you take a lot of pressure off yourself that way. If that really is truly your goal, just make excellence your goal. And also with that, know that you're not always going to be the best person for that result. I know that if I need, again, a spreadsheet created, I can do it and someone else can do it better and faster.
Yes. So I think that's good. I think we just got to be with the mindset of trying and don't be afraid to fail, or don't be afraid to try one process or another. I know we have another member that every few months likes to mix up his employees' responsibilities and switch those across to different people to give people different experiences and to see what people's strengths are and to improve their education. And I think that's important too, because then you're not, saying this is all you're going to be doing and this is what you're going to be doing, or it kind of then creates more of a team atmosphere with that too. So look for that. That's another great one that I found from one of the members that I thought was good. So
that is a really great point. It also speaks to Dawn Krause, who recruited me over to Keller Williams, our market center in Chesterfield. She had told a story at one of our Empower Hours about, and it's true, one of her team members, and this young lady had all kinds of great qualities. It was wonderful. They had her doing at first, I think, writing marketing remarks. And she said she did a beautiful job, but it took her 2 hours. Sounds like me. Yeah. That's why I pay somebody to write my copy now. And they didn't want to let her go because they saw that she had all this value. She was just in the wrong position. And they ended up putting her, I think, in they have a new construction company that they sell their new construction properties, and they put her in their sales office, I believe, if I remember correctly, and that's where she shines. And so I think that's a really great point of, you could have somebody who's really great. However, you might not have them in the position that's playing to their strengths. And so I think being open to moving people around, or even, what if you have someone who is really great and you see certain talents, like what can they do for your organization to improve it? Maybe it's a position you don't already have, but could be created.
So just be aware of that too. I think we need to think with that mindset of, okay, really watch what's going on too, be observant, be a part of that processes, so kind of where your strengths are with yourself and your employees and fellow, if it's a board member, things like that too. And it's all just a constant thing of like, okay, I think that person's great at this person's great at that. And I think after a while, I've kind of know that about certain of like people on the board. Like I know, okay, that person's gonna think through things a little bit more like analytically than maybe
Jeff
somebody
else.
Jeff's a good point though, but
he is.
But there's a way that when I present something to Jeff, there's a way that I think, okay, it's not the way I'm going to think, but I'm going to have to think about, if I present it to him, I want him to feel like he's getting the information that he needs to make his decision. And so you got to think about each person's personality and how they think maybe a little bit differently, but I think that's important that we all think different from one another, because then it keeps us back and it keeps us on our toes too, because you can say, okay, well, think about it in a different way than just the way I'm thinking. Because if there was like 20 Tonys in the room, we'd probably just be running around with ideas all day. So,
well, you bring up a good point. I think Tony, you and I are very similar. We both kind of have that visionary personality and lots of ideas and lots of excitement. Like, ooh, let's do this. This sounds good. And Jeff's that guy that's gonna kind of put the brakes on, and it's valuable. You need that. Who's gonna say, okay, he's that person who's gonna see around the corners and say, okay, have you thought through this, this, and this? And that's and it's important. We might not like to hear it.
No, but
however,
I think it's necessary part of the process so that we can keep
100%.
everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you don't screw everything up. I mean, it's true.
It is true. It is.
Yeah. So my poor husband does for me. He's my no guy.
Yeah, sometimes no's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. I need it. I don't always like it, but I need it.
It's more of a put on the brakes for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that helps all of us too. So
cool. Well, anything else? We've talked about like a whole bunch of stuff today, Tony.
We did. I think the only thing that I could probably end with, and something that I think that I need to do more of, is more of take the pressure off yourself. I think a lot of the times us as, business owners and leaders and things, we have to, we always think that we have to be on or doing something or not taking time for ourselves to relax. And I think for many years I didn't do that. And I think, that's led to a variety of different things, that my health and things like that aren't the best. And I think over the last 2 years, I've really realized that you need those moments to relax yourself, to relax your minds. It makes you better at work. It makes you better with your family. It makes you better with your friends by having those moments to unwind and have a little bit of fun. So I think that if you can do that, I will most likely be at Disney all the time or Universal or doing something fun with my kids. But I think the great one that taught on me was, and here comes one of them right now. Oh yeah, it's Boo. So one of my kids is on the phone and one of them is right next to me. Yeah, so you go talk to Boo and then I'll be right there. But I think one of the great things that my wife did for me was 2 years ago, I was having those health problems. She sent me on a trip with our oldest, and it was just me and him for a week. And since then, I've done multiple trips with just one or the other kids, and I think it's just great to have that one-on-one time, relax, turn off that phone. I think if you have a great team behind you, they can take care of those things, and if they really absolutely need you, you can get to them at the end of the day. So take that time, do some self-care, and the pressure is definitely not worth it at the end of the day. So
No. Yeah, 100%, Tony. It's absolutely not. And I think that a lot of times people, when they see us and you're, when you're out in the public and you're always on, the reality is that's only a part of our lives. There's not a single person out there who doesn't have stuff that they're dealing with. It's life, and it's not perfect, and it's messy, and yeah, just
see, it's okay. Gracie was with me today because she had art class and she wanted to hang out with me at the office, and so you want to go home.
Hi, Gracie. Well, Gracie, you know what? Tony and I have talked enough. Your daddy and I have talked enough, so we're going to wrap it up.
Think about Angie.
So I hope. Yeah. So anyone, if you are a business owner or working for a business and you want to learn more about the chamber, highly encourage you to reach out to Tony and check it out. It is, I can't say enough good things about our chamber. It's certainly helped me in my business immensely, especially being someone newer to Missouri. Didn't come with a sphere of influence, so highly encourage that. And barring that, yeah, just be who you are. It's really the easiest. You can't be anything else, and people will like you. They will want to work with you, unless you're a jerk or something. But as long as you're a good person, and you're honest, and you're trustworthy, and you try to do great things for people, you really, that's really all you got to do. You'll be fine. Tony, thank you so much. Gracie.
Thank you, Angie. Appreciate it. All right. You guys have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Yes.